Season 2, Episode 10 of La Vida Entre Primas, Life Between Cousins, the podcast where we dive into everything from the ups and downs of love and life to the special bond we share as Latinas and cousins. Today we're talking about family.
We're with our family, our moms and our aunts. Say hi, guys.
Hello. Hi.
We are here with my Aunt Jeannie, Elma's mom, the twins, Marty and Marcia, and my mom, Terry.
Hola.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
We've got a lot to talk about today, a lot to cover, and we're very excited. We have a whole list of topics, and we hope that you enjoy it. So we're gonna jump right in. We've already heard from our moms. They were on a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And then in our last episode, we heard from the twins. There's a lot more. I think we could do like a part 2 with the twins, probably. But just wanted to jump right in and kind of talk a little bit about our family. Alma and I talk a lot about our family from our perspective, but they have a very different perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and the background with Nana. So, let's just jump in. What was it like growing up together in Lincoln Heights? You want to talk a little bit about the family of 8?
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about like oldest to youngest and where you land in that, in that composition, and then what was it like living in Lincoln Heights in the 60s, 70s, 80s?
Let me start by saying
She would be the first
I
one.
don't know. She's like, let me jump in here.
the twins were the last, but I am the baby.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
That's
In
true.
theory, but not in reality.
Oh! Zing!
You've got I still have cousins that call me baby.
Isn't there another baby in the family?
No, it's
No,
a
she's
baby. That's a story.
I'm the official baby because
You say what we nicknamed
I was the last of the 6, and then not only one came, 2 came.
So were you guys a surprise?
We're late life
Yes.
from
I believe
We
so.
were at Tantan.
How old was Nana when she had you guys?
46.
45.
Oh my god, and like 2 episodes ago you said she was like 41.
Yes.
I thought she was in her early 40s.
No.
Come here.
Mid 44.
Wow.
And it was 1, and then she came home.
You
She
didn't know?
said it was 2. No, it was 1 at first all along. And then, when she came home one time, it said it's 2.
Oh my gosh.
And that was after a baby shower. So they had another baby shower for her at the Islas, I
At the
believe.
Islas house.
I
And
didn't
everybody
know
brought
that.
the same gift.
Oh
She
my
had 2 of them.
gosh.
And
That's
fun
hilarious.
fact, she wanted to name us both Martha.
Oh,
Why?
But it didn't happen. Martha with
No.
a middle name,
Well,
different middle name.
how weird.
She wanted to name us Marta because when she was pregnant, when she found out she was having twins, the doctors told her, you have to choose one. One of them's got to go. And she was like, oh no.
It was a high risk.
It was a high risk pregnancy. and so
45
she
is up
prayed-
there for having twins. Or any,
She
yeah.
prayed to Santa Marta, which is why she wanted to name us both Marta. And Tia Amelia cried to her. What my mom used to tell me is like Tia Amelia, which is Tio Chato's wife, cried to her, say, you need to do this. You're gonna die. Something's gonna happen. And she's like, no, I'm not. I am not going to choose one. So she had a cesarean on April 1st.
A date she picked.
On a Tuesday, thank you. And so she wanted to name us both Marta, but my dad liked the name Marcia.
Oh.
So my dad, she says, but that's not a Catholic name. He says, we'll call her Patricia. So my name is Marcia Patricia and Marta Leticia.
Oh, that's so interesting because on my dad's side, I have aunts that are twins that are Pat and Letty. Patricia and Leticia.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I will say though, my mom always talked about, true to my mom and her love for food. Tia Aurora was here when the twins were gonna be born. And the night before, my mom said, we are going to have a full-on turkey dinner.
Yeah.
And Tia said, no, but if you're gonna go into surgery, might be the last dinner, maybe not. Guess what? We're gonna have a full-on turkey dinner. Do you remember that, G? A full-on turkey dinner, and that's exactly what she did.
And what's my favorite food ever?
Turkey.
There you
Turkey
go.
leg.
Well,
There you go.
I heard that another one of your favorite foods that may have caused a little bit of debacle, you probably know, is oranges.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Cuties.
I used to, yes, I'm a big orange fan, and I used to get in big trouble growing up because I would eat the whole bag. And
I can tell you what she didn't like.
Cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat.
I have that on my list. I have Marty's gagging thing on my list. That's all.
But going back to the oranges, what did you do?
I would hide under the dining room table eating the oranges. What else did I do?
Do you remember, Jeannie? Because Marsha might not remember because she couldn't have too much oranges
Oh, 'cause I would
because
get a rash.
she would get a rash on
I
the
didn't
inside of her
have
arm,
rashes.
like a
Like eczema.
eczema. So my mom would limit how many oranges because Marsha,
crazy.
like mi tata Jesus, can sit and eat a whole sack of oranges.
I would give her mine though.
So there was a one time, I don't know, we're gonna go back to the closet. That we could not find Marsha. My mom was in tears. She had Jaime running down the street. Remember that? Running down the street to Glenelta. Did she leave? Did she go up the hill? We were all going, 8 kids, 6 kids, were going in different directions
Up
to look for
Roberta,
Marsha.
down Roberta.
Up Roberta, down Roberta, up the hill. And I don't know who found Marsha. But she
Why
was
put her there?
she was in the closet with a sack of oranges, eating
In
oranges.
a
That's
no, that's what
hilarious.
she was in the suitcase.
She was, no, this was
They said
eating
she's zipping me up
oranges.
in Martha zipping me up in a suitcase.
Stop
That's
it.
what he said, ollie ollie income poop or whatever.
Yeah, ollie,
he said.
ollie.
That must have been another story,
Well, yeah.
but
But
my
I was-
mom was in tears, and Marsha was in the
I was
closet.
enjoying myself
eating
the
oranges.
Oh my god, everybody's panicking. Love it.
Like you didn't hear anyone calling your name?
She didn't care. She was eating oranges.
She wasn't done.
And remember, that was a long ass closet.
No.
So
Oh,
I remember
yeah,
that
it was.
deep.
Even
That
if you
was deep.
peek in, you still have to
Yeah.
Yeah.
because if you're hiding
And it was
good,
dark.
you hid in
Was
the
it-
corner.
Oh yeah.
And was it always that full of clothes?
Yes.
Always.
That
Okay.
nobody wore.
It was everybody's closet.
And it was dark from the point of the light bulb dark
Yeah.
all the way to the end.
Yes. Oh my god, that's so funny.
That is funny.
Oh my god.
The love of oranges.
So
She still loves oranges.
we do want to acknowledge before we go forward and talk a little bit about. We always say we'll talk about it later because, Tia Pete. We'll talk a little bit about her. We didn't obviously know her when she was younger, and Uncle Renee. We talk about how he was so far away that, well, I deeply regret that I didn't get to know him better because my mom's like, you guys are so similar. He was like such a like politically charged person. But I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what they were like growing up and kind of give a little bit of nod to their presence now that they're gone.
So I tell you, Renee was big on social justice.
For sure.
Renee was this. He was big in the church.
And didn't he go to Sacred Heart Elementary?
He did
Also?
Yes, he did.
He went to Cathedral.
He graduated from Guadalupe though.
From Guadalupe,
Mm.
yes.
He went to Sacred Heart.
Then
Guadalupe
transferred.
just opened, so he was the first graduate.
He was the first graduating class.
So can I interrupt real quick? I met a man many years ago who was from the neighborhood, from El Sereno, Lincoln Heights, and he said that his dad, and I don't know if this is true, was one of the men who moved like a bungalow of like that Our Lady of Guadalupe was a bungalow when it started, and they moved it.
So I'm gonna
Is that
sound
true?
like my mom with everyone else. ¿Cómo se llamaba?
I know.
His name is Raul.
Pues todos.
It's the last name that we need.
I know.
I'll find it right now.
Yes.
But carry on. I just was like, I thought that was so
So,
interesting.
Louis Ramirez will always say, Renee's the one who got me into teaching catechism. So Renee was about pulling people in and supporting the church. Renee also became a Christian brother for many reasons. There's tons of stories in there that he
Avoiding the
told
war,
us, avoiding
that's what I
the
know.
avoiding the war.
Listen,
So he was,
He got a degree in theology.
But he-
Oh boy.
really?
He
Yeah.
did get
Wow.
from St.
so
Mary's.
talk about him getting home is another story.
Yeah.
I won't talk about that. So Renee was really about social justice. Renee was also one who was, he was a storyteller.
Oh my God.
And he was a great storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
And he made people laugh. He made my mother laugh all the time.
Tell me
He
this
added-
Abel.
He added masa to every story.
Yes, he did.
Give me an
But
example, Abel.
we went back east, Dory, Abel, and I. We decided to go on vacation, and we took Renee with us to Atlantic City, and we ended up in Philadelphia. And all stories considered, he essentially said that Betsy Ross was a slut. He said General George Washington was gay. And
Okay.
and then he said, you have to pitch pennies on Ben Franklin's gravesite. So we were outside of the cemetery sticking our hands through pitching pennies. He's like, why? And Renee would just enjoy it. He just
my
laughed
God.
about all that. So now Renee being a graduate with theology, he taught Martha and I in 8th grade,
Oh, God.
7th grade.
That's a dangerous
6th and
combination.
7th grade.
So politically.
And he, and then he moved back east and became a bartender. He actually worked with children with special needs first, and
Yeah.
then he,
The Kennedy, it was a school, Kennedy. After
and
Kennedy.
then he became a bartender, which he absolutely loved. He was big into politics, absolutely hated Richard Nixon. As a matter of fact, when Richard Nixon died and they brought him over here, Martha and I went, he goes, you go over there and chew some gum and put it on his grave. I said,
Oh
we're
my
gonna get
God.
arrested. He goes, spit on it. I said, we will go, but we are not going to spit.
Wow, having a degree in theology and being like a staunch Democrat liberal
Yeah.
is like a deadly combination.
And
Renee
Which is
also
because those
made-
people are
yeah.
the smartest people I know, almost
Renee
always.
made a huge difference for a lot of kids.
Yes.
When I see somebody who Renee was their teacher,
Yep.
I have never heard, oh, he was such a pain in the neck. He was so mean. I think of Josie.
Josie.
Josie is like
Michael
Aguilar.
Perez,
She's
yeah.
like, oh my God. Yeah,
Armando Figueroa.
yeah, just
Paul Villa, all of
positive,
them.
positive things.
And this is how strongly he felt about social justice during the Watts riots. We had an aunt who came over, and
This story gives me the
Yeah.
like the
But I don't
like
think I know it.
post pride, you know.
Yeah.
she came in.
It was during the Watts riots.
Yeah.
And we want to acknowledge it's a different time,
Different
and we
times.
don't agree, and we know that it's that if it were now, that this wouldn't have happened, and that
She came
sorry.
in spitting fire, and he was not having it.
Spitting out the N-word.
And really talking about whatever she was talking about. Renee he had no qualms, and my mother was mortified, but he kicked her out of her house.
To get
He
out.
said,
Out
"You
of
need to
Nana's
get
house?
out. You go." And my mom was like,
Wow.
"What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh no, not here."
He
Not-
picked
not
up
with
her
me."
purse, handed it to
Uh-huh.
her, and
No.
shoved her
I
out the
wish
door.
so much he
mother
was
was
still alive,
mortified.
so that I
And
could
he-
see what he would be doing today.
He instilled, he told us, don't you ever, if I ever hear you see that word, and I swear even, and I used to be a big Snoop Dogg fan. I blocked him. Anyway, I don't follow him anymore, but he said, you ever say that word? I'm
That's
not
what we
kidding, I'll
need.
break
Yeah.
your teeth. And I was like, I had this fear, but it's true. You
Yeah.
do not say that. We're not even in a song, nothing.
He was very political, and he introduced us,
Uh-huh.
Jeannie, because I was a couple of years too young, to the Democratic Convention.
Oh, yeah.
Did you go? Or
She-
did you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I went with Renee and we crashed many a party.
Love it.
We went
Was it
up at
Monday?
the
No.
Sheraton Hotel at Universal
Yes,
Studios.
yes.
There was a party up in the presidential suite
Mm-hmm.
and
not
he said,
Brandon.
just follow me. I
Love
said,
it.
okay, just follow me. We went to the top floor and he says, what do you mean my name's not on that list? Oh, donate, blah, 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 blah. And I'm dying,
Like this.
I'm dying. I wouldn't look at him. And they go, we're so sorry, Mr. Cagigas, come on in. It must have been a misprint. We were the president with one down.
Stop! Are you serious? Wait,
I think
with who?
Or
Tom
McGovern.
Bradley.
Tom
McGovern,
Bradley.
Tom
Oh,
Bradley.
we crashed more than one party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thomas Bradley, when he was mayor of LA.
Yeah, when he was
We
mayor of
crashed
LA.
that party too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very political,
Oh, yeah.
and he
And-
dragged us along.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
he went with us. Yeah, I mean he took us with him.
He was also the absolute life of the party.
Oh yeah, bigger than you, bigger than you,
Bigger than me.
bigger than you, Terry.
Bigger
Sorry,
than
I
me.
said
At
it.
a wedding, he was popping Tia Amelia, popping the Willie.
Yeah,
in the
stop
wheelchair.
it.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
kidding.
remember that.
He cried. Okay, well, can I really quick? When Renee, Renee didn't have kids, and I knew he would never, have that being able to walk somebody down.
Right.
The aisle. So I remember I told Seth, hey Seth, listen, I'm gonna, cause Seth walked.
Yeah.
I was down the aisle. I said, Seth, I'm gonna ask Renee why. I said, he's never gonna do
Yeah.
this, right? So Renee was so freaking nervous, so petrified. the nurse, Pete, came in and gave him some Valium.
That's
And he
hilarious.
washed down with wine.
Oh my god.
That spilled on his white
That spilled
shirt,
on
yeah?
his white shirt.
Oh my
I
god.
literally had to hold him up, like holding
Really?
him up, walking down the aisle, but he was like, the little tears.
Oh.
I'm never gonna do this more.
Oh,
It's
stop
like,
it. That's
Yeah,
gonna make
he
me
was,
cry.
Yeah.
Very
Do you-
sensitive.
Very sensitive. Oh yeah, very
Do,
sensitive.
do you feel like that, going back really quickly to the party that you crashed and crashing do you feel like that shaped your beliefs, your political beliefs?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, because we had a model. Like, my mom wasn't very vocal about that stuff, and even Cessa and Jaime wasn't there. Even
They were
Cessa,
gone,
you know,
yeah.
they just weren't very as vocal as Renee.
Oh man.
And you know, I have to say something else. Jeannie and Renee share a birthday.
Yes.
Oh.
5 years apart.
Yeah.
He didn't like his 5th birthday present.
It was my mom.
Not like
It's okay.
So we have a question I've always wanted to know, and it's,
Yeah, go for it.
do you think Nana knew that he was gay?
Yes.
Yes?
We had that conversation, Renee and I, and I think she did, but it was
She never
something
admitted
she will
it.
never
Sure,
accept.
sure.
She would never
Again,
verbalize it.
the times, just with other people. My mom's a very wise woman. I
Yeah.
think she absolutely knew, but she would never. Now there was this. Me personally, when people say, you know, you have to come out, you have to this. Do we come out and say, you know,
No, yeah.
I'm you know, hetero? I mean,
Yeah.
there's this pressure that I don't understand. That's just me.
Sure.
And it's also a personal choice.
100%.
And so I don't understand why this big push on you have to. I think that out of respect, he didn't.
Sure.
I know he didn't have the conversation, but I know, yes.
That she knew, or she had a-
And he,
But
yes.
did he ever tell anybody I'm gay? He didn't come out and say
Me?
I'm gay.
He told me.
didn't tell me.
Oh,
I walked
absolutely.
into his apartment and there was King.
Yeah.
Oops,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well,
There was naked sailors. Do you remember we went to
But I
Disney?
said, no,
Yes,
yeah.
knowing I was never told, hey, I'm gay.
I
Hey,
had a
you know,
conversation.
or a conversation with anybody else about Renee being gay.
Yeah.
I happened to be in DC and I stayed with him one day.
They're like, who are you?
You
His
know,
friend, right?
I
Yeah.
That's the look that we all
I
have.
figured it out real quick.
you know what? Yeah.
Did you hear the conversation?
He
No.
said no. He said
No.
something to me only because I asked him. I asked him, but it wasn't a conversation that I can remember how that conversation went. But we had the a very brief conversation.
Yeah.
And it could be the same time that I told him, man, if you're bringing your pot in the house, just put it away because my mom's gonna find it.
Mira la plantita que bonita.
Some drinks around the but to say he came out and had a conversation and said, hey, you know, no,
Yeah.
no.
Like in today's
Interesting.
day and age, he would
No.
know.
I was always of the belief that my mom didn't know that.
Oh.
Well, obviously he didn't tell her. My mom did not know,
Really?
but as Marty says, she is a wise woman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what is her favorite saying? Which tú vas, yo ya vengo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think, again, I think my mom was a very wise woman. I think she was a very forward thinker. Although she had very traditional views, I think she was a very forward
100%.
thinker.
Yeah.
And so I think, I have a gut feeling that she knew, although she would never admit to it.
Sure.
We
That makes sense.
We
would
had
say,
the
tú
discussion.
crees?
I know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I was
heard her
really
say that.
close with Renee, and especially like I said, we had the discussion, and not like it wasn't elaborate
Yeah.
huge discussions, but he said, you know, it's out of respect. I
Yeah.
think it was just. I'm not gonna go there with her.
And you know, even that time, it's not what it is now. Like
Yeah.
in terms of acceptance and
Yeah.
like having gone through the Catholic, Catholic education,
Yes.
Catholic values. Now it's so different. Even those 20 years that it's been now has,
Yeah.
so much has changed. So he passed away in 2002, 2003.
3 February.
When that,
23rd.
yeah, because
February
Nana was at
23rd,
Heath.
yeah.
And I just want to say something that I remember of that time that was really difficult, and I have to give props to Aunt Jeannie. I always say this. I know that it was hard because he didn't live here. He lived in DC.
Yeah.
It was hard for the siblings to go see him, but it was so much harder to stay back. And now I'm gonna cry because we were the parents, the kids went, and you stayed, and I remember thinking, oh my god, it's been so hard to stay back.
Yeah, sure.
That was really difficult. I know.
You're gonna make us all cry.
I know. I'm sorry, but it was a hard
But
time.
I will also share that on the other end, getting there, and Jaime looking at us and saying, I'm so glad you're here, and giving us hugs. It was like the pressure here for Jeannie and Pete and supporting my mom.
Yeah.
And Jaime was like,
Yeah, that
Oh,
was,
yeah, you
Yeah.
never deal
thank you for being here.
Yes. And I remember Aunt Jeannie being on the phone being like, if I leave now,
Yes.
and it was too late. That was really painful for us to watch and be like, oh my
I
god.
recall she had a really horrible sciatic
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
And besides, I don't know if she could have handled being
Yeah.
there for that. But I remember just driving in here, I told Marsha, we were talking about, material stuff. Like, I don't know, another thing, just, I don't know, just right now, just my mind, the material doesn't mean anything. And it really doesn't. And I just told her, I said, you know what haunts me? It's funny you should bring them up. I said, it haunts me that we went into Renee's apartment and we had 3 days. Like we were only gonna be there 3 days. So in between being with him when, okay, he's doing a little better, we would race to his apartment, pack up as much as we can. And I said, it haunts me. I feel like I invaded something that meant a lot to him. And to me, it's like, throw it away.
Yeah,
So
that's
we're
so
talking about
hard.
cleaning out like the back room. And Marsha's like, I don't know if I have time to say I can do it, but I said, but that's to me, we just knew his it was so weird.
Yeah, but I think also, Marty, is that we really, I remember the conversations that, what about this, what about
So
this,
we
what
could
about
be
this?
over there.
We brought back a bunch
Yeah.
of his stuff.
I still have,
And a lot of stuff stayed at Jaime's. I think that was just, and again, the first
It was
sibling
the first.
to go and being there. And I do remember Seth calling my mom and saying they can't do anything for him, and he could not get those words out. We were outside. He could not get those words out, and I remember taking the phone from him and saying to my mom, "They're trying, but they can't do anything." She started to cry. She gave Jeannie the phone, and Jeannie exactly said that. If I leave now, will I see him?
Yeah.
Remember though, we left and there was a huge storm.
There was a
Yes.
blizzard.
So we didn't
It
even
was
know,
20
That's
degrees.
we
right.
didn't even know that we were going to take off
Yep.
or be able to come back
Yeah.
because there was such
Yeah.
a big
It's a bad
storm.
storm.
So I think it was just all around was really, really difficult
Terrible.
for everybody.
And that conversation, because I got the phone with my mom and she says, "Tell me it's not true." And I was like,
Yeah. It was like the revolving phone.
I
Went from
couldn't-
Seth
She's
to
gonna
me
take
to
her something
Marsha,
different.
and that was it. Because
Yeah.
even Jaime could. Anyway, it was just a really difficult time, and I think we've talked about it when we came back, and then when Jaime and Ann brought Renee home was another
Rip. Yeah.
another just really difficult
Yeah.
time of bringing the urn and
He's next to Nana,
and the
right?
dog
In
shit.
yes,
Yeah, he's
and
right.
the dog
shit.
He's
And
right
the dog
around
shit.
the corner.
Right around the corner.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. He stayed in the rectory. Father Tom was very gracious.
Yeah.
He let us keep him there for like months
Because it wasn't ready yet, right?
The mausoleum was being built.
Yeah,
that's
we
why.
were prepared. So it was like, I think we buried him in August.
I remember just the siblings went over to the rectory to leave him and grandma.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we all went up to like the hall because we were all in the hall, if I'm not
My
mistaken.
father
After
was so nice. He said, whenever you want to visit him, so I would knock on the door and just go in that little room, his little private chapel. And
So
just sit there.
nice.
Yeah, it was.
every time I
That's
drove
so
by,
kind.
My mom says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm saying hi to Renee."
Oh,
Yeah, it was a difficult time for everybody.
it's hard.
Yeah.
for sure.
So the other sibling that you have lost is my Aunt Pete, and she
She's my aunt,
was older
Older.
than you,
Uh-huh.
younger than.
She was
Renee.
67.
Younger than the boys.
Renee
Nino's
was,
the oldest.
Yes.
Renee was 52 when he died.
That's so young, dude.
52, and she was 67 when she passed.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Cesar, Jaime, Rene, and then Pete,
Jeannie.
Lupi,
No.
Jeannie.
Oh, she was the oldest girl. Got it.
Yeah.
All the three boys first. Got it.
I got bumped up twice.
And by the way, I'm next.
I'm just saying.
And you're next.
And by the way,
According to
I'm
Pete.
next. According to Pete, I'm next.
What was it like? So we know how Aunt Pete was in life. R.I.P. She was
R.I.P.
hardcore, man.
She was
A pinch,
hardcore.
a little poke, but also like a nurse and a really very
A very well-rounded,
so
respected
creative.
nurse.
So yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Remember her funeral when
some
all
of my-
those doctors came and were
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
"Who are these people?" You
Yeah.
only know people from like one side.
Yeah.
We're still, do you know what? It's funny, you remember Sharda? Or what's her name? One of her doctors that she worked with. She still will send us pictures and she swears that Pete did a little baby magic from heaven because she was in fertility, this for years, and she got pregnant like a year after Pete had passed. She had something to do with this. And now she has 3 babies, but she still reaches out and she says, I cry. I think of your sister, and it just, so she really touched a lot of lives.
Yeah, she
for
did.
sure. For
One of my
sure.
former students was one of her patients.
Oh, really? There's a parent at the school who worked with her. And she said all of our
Yeah.
parties sucked after we retired. After she's like, she even got us to Dodger Stadium one time. And I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
sure. And she
Yeah.
supported Sacred Heart Elementary and the high school and
Pete was
the soccer
making-
games and.
She went to Our Lady, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
He was making baked potatoes, getting the cheapest price for her Christmas parties. She
Yeah.
was doing fundraisers for Kaiser all the time. Pete was hard, but Pete was really,
Particle.
she had a really soft heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say
And
she was
very
soft-hearted.
generous.
Yeah, very
Yes.
generous.
Do you remember us all sitting around? Do you remember when she'd have us make those blankets?
Yes.
And if you would tie one wrong, she'd like
Yes.
do it again.
Yeah, she'd rip it apart.
Or remember when we were
But Tim's
folding
the one that
her?
does party.
I have-
Was it
Dude, it was me, you, and Tim. And you. Tim. I have pictures and videos, and Tim's like, fuck this shit. And he was like, on one side he wrote fuck.
We had to fold them
invite says
just the right way.
She's funny.
You know what though? But if Pete was going to do it, she was gonna do it right.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, and there's like nothing she didn't know how to do. But
No.
It's a small world. Emma's party.
Emma's
Emma's
birthday
party. Emma's 5th birthday.
12 costume changes. That was amazing.
serious question though. Did she kill the dog?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she did.
Yes, she did.
They were missing pills at, oh no, I shouldn't say that. Oh, in her cabinet. Not Kaiser,
No.
saying she
yeah.
killed that dog.
She killed that
Rip
dog.
to the dog.
Rip
Said like
to
a
the
little
dog.
bit.
She's running in, all of them are running in heaven with the
Yeah.
dog.
She,
She
We
killed
told
it.
her the day it happened. I said, why'd you kill it? I didn't kill it.
She took it to her grave.
She did.
She took it to her grave, but she killed
She
that
killed
dog.
that dog.
I will tell you that when we said, "Come on, Pete, tell us the truth," she
Nope.
goes, "I didn't do it," but then she had this little evil laugh at the end of it. She's like, "I didn't," and she'd laugh, and we're like, "You did."
And I
Listen.
think
That
if you
dog
think
is
of
so
oh
fierce,
yeah.
it's
And she had, after that, she got the steak. She got the good food that the dog
Dude.
was eating.
If I can describe or just give a short story of Pete and how she was, yes, she was the nurse. She was the nurse. If any of us fell down, which I remember falling down at the East Last house when they lived up on the hill, and I remember scraping my knee, and it had all kinds of dirt and rocks in there, and she would heal it. She would like fix it up and bandage me up. And when I think of my wedding,
Oh.
she made my cake. She made my wedding dress.
My dress.
Wait. She made 2 wedding dresses. The first wedding dress she made out of Kaiser sheets
Mine too, I still have
because
it.
she didn't know if she would be able to do it.
Yep.
So
You
she
still have it?
made.
Damn, she stole Kaiser
made-
sheets for that?
No,
That's what my copay is going to?
My mother
I'm just
used,
kidding.
my mother used the sheets for rags. She ripped it up.
I have mine.
But she made the dress out of Kaiser sheets, and it was a perfect fit. So then she bought the materials.
She made my first communion dress too.
She made, yeah. So, she was what Tia Malita would call Cesar. El mentolato. Good for everything.
But also painful as
And
hell.
painful. She was, yeah. She, as Marcia said, she was harsh. She was loud. When she was angry, she was angry. But she would give you her last dollar.
Totally.
Her last dollar.
So when she was on hospice at Nana's house for how long? Gosh, months.
3 months.
Months.
From September.
2 months.
So first September
2
she
months.
was sick till September and
She
then
died
2
November,
months.
2 months.
I was making Adam's Halloween costume, and I was sitting next to her. This woman's literally, God forgive me, like she's like essentially on her deathbed, right? She's on hospice. She's laying down. She's like she's in and out of consciousness, really. And I'm sitting there making this gun. It's like a gun that lights up. And
Five
she
Nights at Freddy?
literally
Friday Night?
turns over. No, Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty.
She turns over and she's like, "You're not doing it right." Turn it this way and put the glue on the side. And I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Okay.
Hilarious.
She was
And she really did admire, or maybe she really had, you know, we always joke about that bond that siblings have.
Yeah.
That we have. She really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And she would, I mean, for anybody in the family, it was like that pineapple upside down cake for 6.
Oh, God, yeah.
The cherry cordials for Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whether he ate them or not, I mean,
More
but,
But every year,
Yeah.
seriously.
but
Yeah.
so it was, she always kept that in the back of her mind,
Yeah.
you know, and that was just one of her knacks, one of her.
I have to say, when I go into my child development and I think about how people grew up, my mom really gave her a lot of responsibility after
Yes.
my dad died.
Yes.
Watch the kids, because, you know, as in one of your previous episodes, she was now involved in the church, so who was watching the rest of us, right?
That's a
So,
lot.
That's a lot for somebody who she was a senior in high school?
She was
She was a freshman.
Oh, she was
When my
a
dad
freshman.
died, she was a freshman in high
So
school.
now she has this responsibility of, according, you know, to my mom, watch the kids, right? I mean, I was 3, and Terry was 10, Jeannie was about 12, 13?
12.
Those are difficult years. And
Yeah.
and so she kind of,
She's tired.
well, she had a lot of responsibility, and she
Mhm.
didn't know how to parent, okay,
Right.
because she was
Totally.
14. So, you know, I think she you know,
She had to grow up
she was
fast.
hard. She grew up hard. And you know, there wasn't a time when we'd be sitting at the kitchen table when we were growing up, and I'd be like stretching my neck and closing my eyes, because I knew if she got up to walk behind me, she was gonna hit my head, or, you know, the claw, which she was proud of her.
Grab your knee. Oh my
Right?
God.
And
My
she was
fa-
gonna do something, right?
My favorite is when Donato says that she would say, "Act your age." He's like, "We're 5 or whatever." I am. I'm a kid.
Yes. So, you know,
Yeah.
so there was this, you know, yeah.
I think along those same lines, we all knew that my mom was a sissy. You know, and things that were scary, it's like, and I remember, Jeannie probably remembers this. I remember if there was a noise or something, and we didn't lock our doors all the time. And if there was a noise, it was like we'd all look at Pete, because Seth was not home, Jaime was not home, Renee wasn't, and we look at Pete, and the guys used to have a BB gun that was a rifle. Do you remember this? And she would quickly go get a
Stop,
rifle
you're kidding
and
me.
go to the back door, kind of like now there are no BBs.
Who was
in
it?
That's
there.
hilarious.
Who was it, Annie Oakley?
Annie Oakley, it was Annie Oakley.
That's
She would
hilarious.
like go to the door, and then she'd say, "Come with me," and it was like, "Okay, well, nobody was
empty
there.
gun, an empty
Nobody
gun.
was there with an empty rifle, but it was like she was
But on
hilarious.
that side, on the flip side, Pete was also the one who had these little ceramic dolls, and one of the heads had popped off. She
Yeah.
would also be the one to roll it down the hallway when it was dark to scare the hell out of you. So there's these, you know, and don't turn the lights on because the electricity bill's gonna go up. So
Oh my
it would be
God.
dark,
And don't
and
paint your nails.
here comes the head rolling down the hallway. And be like, what?
You're so right. Classic Pete story. Until this day, I get an extra beat in my heart, and then I laugh. In the old house, my mom, you know, was in her room, and my bedroom was way in the back by the bathroom before Marsha took
With
it
the
over.
3-inch opening in the wall.
Way, yeah, with the 3-inch opening in the wall. It was fully air conditioned, and I remember going to and the house get dark. Remember going to my room,
It's so dark.
and if I can describe this for our listeners, when I went to turn on the light, Pete's hand was over the light switch, and when I went to turn on the light, I moved her middle finger instead of the switch. I screamed, she screamed, and then the you know, there was a wall there. I bounced from wall to wall to wall, and I ran and jumped on my mom's bed. Cause I was hyperventilating. I was so freaking scared. Pete came in and she was laughing so hard. I was like, pues qué pasó? And I couldn't talk. And Pete's like, la asusté. I couldn't sleep in that room that night. It was, she scared
And that
the
hallway could have been
holy-
even bigger than a 3 foot.
I'm telling you, I bounced from
A lot of bouncing for 3 feet
There
of
was a
fall.
lot of bouncing for a chubby girl like me. Let me tell you, it was.
Yeah.
But she was, she sat in the, oh, she was a bad. She was a character. She would like to scare people, and her kids are the same way.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh
They're
yeah.
the same way.
And she had a temper.
And she had a temper,
Yes.
for sure, for sure.
There was a hole in our living room wall for years because she just slammed the door open.
I didn't know that.
In the living room. Yeah, she was so mad at Renee, I think, nail polish, I don't know.
Nail polish.
Somebody slammed the door.
Did they used to fight?
Oh, I was gonna say, not like
Yeah.
She can tell stories
About what?
Nail polish.
Oh, Pete would polish her nails or our nails in the living room. And Renee would be in the back by the kitchen and
He would hate it.
He
He
smelled
hated
the smell.
He hated the smell of
Really?
nail polish. Oh man, he would yell and scream and throw the bottles out.
Oh
He
yeah.
would go buy
And she would be
more
like
and-
painting her nails.
And he would yell. I remember one time
Yeah.
him telling her, stop. And she's like, I'm not done. And I went, oh, and I remember seeing her go, oh, and she was on, and then I think she was on the phone. And he grabbed that phone and hung it up. And it was
Damn.
bad. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, they were,
Butting heads a lot.
yeah, they were.
I miss those days.
Do you?
I know. I know.
Yes,
I was
yes.
stressed in the closet hiding.
Eating
Eating oranges.
I miss her. And,
Yeah,
and
No, I
Oh,
miss,
yeah,
I miss
for
them both,
sure.
absolutely.
For sure, but I always tell
kids used to
people
say-
we have so many stories that keeps your memory alive,
oh yeah.
For sure.
keeps us going.
And she was my nurse advisor. I would call her, Pete, I've got this rash that looks like.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, okay, I think it's this. I said, okay, I think we're okay, you guys. I don't think we have to send the child home.
My
Oh
kids-
gosh, I
So
think
I
meant for
called-
yourself.
Oh, I was like, she would bring home shots for me.
No,
like a TV shot or something.
Yeah, the vaccinations.
Yeah.
My kid said she gave the best shots. When I used to if I cut myself or something, the first thing, there'd be blood and the kid's like, they got the Pete. I was like, what? It's like, come on, Brianna. She was like 13. I'll drive you to the Pete. I can't even drive. Yeah. But she always, she would stitch you up if she could, but always. My doctor would say, oh, you have to bring the kids, so you know they read that
TB test?
skin test.
Yeah.
So I said, here's your note. He goes, that's not my nurse. I said, it's my nurse. And she said it was fine. Okay. It was fine.
I can also share that, as Marcia was saying, you know, she really had to be a parent to us, at a very young age. I mean, I remember going to El Paso with Jaime, and the twins were in a Christmas show, and
gosh.
she called my mom and she said, the twins are in a Christmas show, and one of them's Mary, one of them's Joseph. She made their costumes.
Who's Joseph?
Oh, she
That's
wasn't
all.
telling.
She made their costumes.
Yeah.
We missed it, but she made their costumes.
She also really yelled at us.
Because you told her what the day before?
No,
No.
she sent us to the store to buy something, and it was like 10 cents change. She's like, "Where's the change?" And we didn't give it to her, so she got mad, and then she made us put tinsel on the stupid tree.
Oh, the tree. Oh, the
No,
tree.
tinsel.
One
At a
piece of
time.
tinsel at a time. I got to a point where I balled it up and shoved it in the middle of the tree, and she found it. She ironed that
Wow.
shit, and I had to put.
It's fine, we're way past the time.
She was mad at us for.
Yeah.
She got mad. But
And my mom
But
used
I
to
was
go,
married.
she was in charge, my mom would go to Washington.
Yeah.
So Marcia and I one time we were gonna go out, and she goes, great cook, but we were guinea pigs. I made some clam chowder, and I said, all right, Marcia, look. Marcia would eat her spaghetti separate, like no meat,
She was a
just,
picky eater.
yeah. So we sat there, we were high school,
It was
seniors.
the red one.
Oh, do you
And so-
no
and
the
Clam chowder.
Awful. So then she goes, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Man, I dumped as much as I could, and then I'd be like, and then I'd have to eat hers because she was
Ugh.
not
I'm
gonna
not gonna
That's
I'll
so
stay
gross.
here all night.
No.
I will wait you out.
And then we've been out, and truth be told, this just happened once. We were in seniors, we had
Wow.
beers. So we're
Cheating
drinking
over
beers.
our chest.
It happened once?
No.
Just once. Yeah, that we had beers in high school.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We vomited.
Oh, red.
But
That was me last
listen,
weekend ago.
fun fact.
No.
Fun fact, about a year after that, we went to Washington, D.C., and we went to Mrs. Gaffney's house.
And she made the same
invited us
thing.
for dinner, and she says, "Oh, have some soup." We sat down, and it was the same.
Clam
It
chowder.
was the clam
Oh.
chowder. I remember with the spoon was
Shaking?
in my hand, and I dropped it. My mom's like, "Cometelo."
Oh, my
and I'm
God.
like, hell no. I don't care if she knows the recipe. I'm
Even
not
to this
eating
day,
it.
I've not had red
Mrs.
clam
Gaffney was
chowder.
like, "You don't have to eat it, dear." I said, "No, don't worry about that, lady. I'm not eating it." Because that's not going to happen. And they're like, "Oh, no, it's okay. You don't have to." My mom's like, "Cometelo." And I'm like,
No, that was disgusting.
It's
Wow.
where I was
I know.
headed.
You
It's
did.
okay. I mean, we got so many Pete stories, but
Yeah.
where I was headed is that Pete also, as she went to nursing school and she got, she made wonderful friends. Keita Scott. I mean, they followed each other to Kaiser, and Pete also then. I mean, she was young. She'd go out. She'd have a great time. He was one of those that would stay out late.
Oh.
Perucha.
She would stay out and come home like at 4 in the morning. And
Damn.
my mother,
yeah.
my mom would lock all the doors.
Stop.
She looked like Frosty the Snowman.
Wait.
The
Oh,
broom.
my mom would lock all of the doors except for the door at her bedroom.
Oh.
That's hardcore.
So Pete had no choice but you guys remember this, right?
Yeah.
She had no choice but to come in, and I'm sure she had already tried all the other doors. And my mother would be standing there waiting for her. And she would like,
No.
and Pete would try and
No
sneak
way.
in, and my mother would grab her from the back.
No.
It's not
Spins
so
around.
Look at
Oh,
one
yeah.
hand holding her, the other one like hitting her.
Are you serious?
Oh,
We're
yeah.
lucky she was tired by the time we went
It's at
out.
4. I remember one time maybe
She had
it's
a
my
broom, too.
imagination.
Did
She
she
came
have
at
a
6
broom?
in the morning. It was
Does
like,
she have a broom in her hand?
I don't know.
Did she hit you, my mom?
No.
Does she hit you?
I always told,
No.
I would always tell my mom.
For doing nothing because
Well, she never caught me. I ran.
I would always tell my mom the twins are out of hand. Pégale.
Stupid.
What would she do?
Marsha would stop and I'd run. I wasn't gonna.
Would she catch you guys?
Yeah,
Well, she tried.
yeah, she was close.
Didn't Grandma one time throw a fork at
I was gonna
I
ask
have
that.
that fork.
Yes.
Were you there?
Yeah,
I was
Do you
there.
remember?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
it was
What happened? Wasn't it a
it was a
Terry
Good
has a
Friday,
bag of
wasn't
tricks.
oh
it?
wait.
It was what?
It was a
Good
what?
Friday?
A Good Friday.
Was it on a Good
I
Friday?
don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
But that was.
It wasn't. A
But why did she throw it? Why
Yeah,
did she
it wasn't
throw
for
it?
She was, I don't know
Renee
if he
was
was
cooking
bugging
snacks.
her.
Remember the house was round
Yeah.
and round.
Yeah.
So it was like.
But what
she was
But
just
I thought it was when he ate a hot dog and my mom threw it at him.
I don't know if it was that or if she was like. The
Upstairs
kids were just like running in circles. She was frying chicken and he got it was like a bull.
Like
Oh,
that.
fried
Yeah.
chicken. So it wasn't Good
It wasn't
Friday.
Good Friday.
Wasn't Good Friday.
No, it wasn't.
And he was running around the house. It was
It
not
was
Good
not Good
Friday.
Friday. Laughing, having a good time. Definitely
She
wasn't Good
got it,
Friday.
and I'm gonna tell you, I do not know. I do not remember a lot of stories, obviously, with my dad.
I was gonna
But
ask
I
about that next.
do remember that conversation when my dad got home, sat down with his cup of coffee to have dinner, and my mom was like, "Well, pues ahora los niños, blah 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 blah." And Renee would come around and she, because he was itching to tell, and Pete would come around and she like, "Váyanse para allá."
Did she
And-
tell him?
Oh yeah, she did. But it took her a
In her
while
own way.
to like.
Was he
And I
dressed?
don't remember.
I
just remember the hemming and the hawing, and I thought, oh, this is good.
But you didn't even say what happened. What happened? She throws a fork.
And it's stuck in his butt.
Yeah, the thing.
The two-pronged fork.
It probably stuck on the,
Yeah, but it was
Oh,
stuck in
no,
there.
Like
But it's
a
stuck in his
bull.
ass cheek.
but it was stuck, yeah.
Like a bull in the bullfights. It was like,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like that, the bullfight.
So I want to know. I'm gonna ask Aunt Jeannie because she's the oldest here. We don't know our grandpa.
Thanks.
Huh?
Thank you.
What
She's
do you
kinda old.
remember of your? No, just the oldest here.
My students called her old the other day.
They did.
They were like, we
Well,
walked
they called
out.
me a millionaire.
They walked out and they were like, "Is that your mom?" I was like, "No, it's my sister." Like, and one kid was like, "You're being sarcastic again." I was like, "Good job, bud. I'm proud of you for recognizing that." And then I was like, "No, that's my sister." And they're like, "If she was your sister, she'd look a lot younger."
Oh, well, that's why.
Damn.
That's what they said. They did her dirty. That was a good time though. Go
That's
on.
hilarious.
Sorry.
You
Go
have a
on.
fun
I won't
class.
say what.
What?
So what was the question?
I wanted to know what you remember of your dad. So we don't know anything. I hear what my mom says, but my mom always says too she was pretty young. You guys were super young.
Six.
What do you remember?
He was a family man. Like we'd go
Yeah.
on picnics, we'd go on outings. We had dinner. We actually sat at the kitchen table.
Love that.
for
Was he a
dinner.
fun dad?
And we was he?
Yeah,
Fun.
Fun.
yeah.
Like, she's
And
fun.
my mom made chocolate cake for dinner. Like it was
And we
a
had our-
traditional.
It's like the
We
what
had
is
our
that
seating
show?
arrangement.
Yes.
Oh, you had
We
your own
had
seats.
our own seats.
Really?
Kind of like
bird,
Benito?
like bird
No,
Kids like
Mono
Mono
and-
and
yeah.
I was in between Cess and Jaime, I think. I was in between Cess and Jaime. Jeannie,
I was-
Pete, and Renee on the
Yeah.
other side, and the twins were in high chairs back there.
Away from the family.
But he was. I mean, we did a lot of family stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Always did family stuff. You know, he would go to Jaime's games.
Cathedrals
I remember.
picnics.
Nogales picnics.
Nogales
We would
picnics.
do all kinds of stuff.
So there were a lot of families that came from Nogales that we knew, and they would do picnics, and we would always go. Cathedral, he was so proud of his sons, and
Yeah.
at Cathedral, they'd do picnics. We'd go to the picnics. We'd all go. The Sacred Heart, he started to get involved. I think
Yeah.
he was voted in as treasurer, maybe, or secretary.
Of Sacred Heart?
But then he passed away.
At the high school.
How old
At the
were you
high
when he
school.
passed away?
12.
Oh, so then how old were you?
Three. We're three.
9. 9, 10, right
Yeah.
about there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right around there. But I do remember when he died, I think I got in trouble at school that day.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know why. I said I talked too much or something.
You?
So yeah, so I got in trouble in school, and my mom, of course, was wait till your dad calls tonight.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tonight your dad's
awful.
gonna call, and you're gonna have to tell him.
Because let me preface this, because my dad had asthma and wasn't feeling
Oh,
well. About 3 days before, when he'd go to Nogales, the temperature would help his asthma. But
The
he-
dry.
So the dry, supposedly dry, he kind of would help him. So he had gone 3 days before
Right.
to Nogales.
Right.
So she was telling you
So
to
he
wait
was
till he
calling
called.
every night.
Yeah.
You know, how are the kids? And he would talk to all of us. Well, that night, the
Can I
night.
preface it one more time? You know, Jaime took my dad to the train station.
Train station in
and the train
Alhambra.
station is in Alhambra. It's now storage. It's called
Yeah.
all aboard storage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be a train stop right
Yeah,
there.
on
Past,
on
past
Mission.
Coles.
On mission.
On Mission.
Okay.
On mission,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the last time Jaime was here and he was in my car, he goes, yeah, that's where I dropped
That's
my dad off to go to
Mm.
that's right where he died. And I was like, huh?
That's right.
Oh.
No, they're
That's
called
right.
all
Yeah.
aboard.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
Because
there's
there's
a
the
train
train
station.
station. Yeah.
Very true.
So
But
you
he
got
would
in
just,
trouble.
He would call every night to check in on my mom and everybody because, you know, the twins were smaller. I guess because of the twins, but all of us. But he called that night and I said, I ain't gonna talk to him because he's gonna make me tell him. Because I ain't gonna talk to him. Come talk. No, it's okay, Mom. I'm not gonna talk to him. And the next day he died.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah.
What do you remember about when he passed away?
You know what? It was a whirlwind.
Mm-hmm.
It was just.
We did not know.
We did not know. Tio Chato came over and said, pack your bags,
Pack
we
your
have to go
bags.
to Nogales. Your dad is sick. So he
But
took me
did
to
he
my
already
mom.
know that he
He
had
already
died?
knew he had
That's
died.
crazy to me.
So then he got us all in 2 cars. We went in 2
Yep,
cars.
his car and our car, you know.
And Jaime was driving one, I believe.
and Jaime knew.
We stopped at Tio Chato's house.
I don't know if
I think-
Jaime knew.
I think Jaime was the only one that knew, because Tio Chato had
It's so much
said to
pressure
Jaime,
for like a young
we
kid.
have to get there. So
Yes.
we are famous for driving to Nogales. Let's stop here, Dairy Queen.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
have something to
Hours.
eat.
Yeah.
I
And we
like. I
knew this
hope
stuff
he
was
didn't, because I'm like 9 hours
No,
knowing that
no.
your dad is
No.
gone and
And
nobody
back
else
then it
knows.
was 12 hours because the freeway
I
didn't
know.
go all the way.
And then my mother
Right,
would
right,
say,
right.
well, call. How come nobody's calling to tell us how he is?
Talks
Or-
about the
Awful.
you know.
Well, there's no cell phones.
No, but I mean before.
No, they would have called it.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
you know, and let me tell you, talk about the astute woman that she was.
Oh, yeah.
She knew something was wrong.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Because when we would stop for gas, she would tell Renee, here's quarters, go call, give Tia Malita's number, go call. We'd put gas and Tio Chato would say, come on Renee, get in the car. Nope, can't call, can't make any calls.
And then driving into Tucson,
Yeah.
Tia Media's brother was the sheriff, head of the sheriffs there in Nogales. and they pulled Tio Chato, or Tio Chato, somehow they knew.
Yeah.
So they got us and they escorted us to the border.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
We couldn't even stop at Tia Malita's. We
But
didn't-
do you remember? We did stop at Tia Malita's because by that point, my mom was like, no. So we did get an escort to the border, but my mom.
He died in Mexico,
In
not
Mexico.
not
In
on
Mexico.
the U.S. side.
No, Mexico.
Mexico. So whoever was driving the car, Jaime probably was driving our car. My mom told him, con la malita, and we stopped at Tia Malita's house. And Renee ran in, and of course nobody was there. La Ramoncita was there. This is how I remember it.
Yes.
La Ramoncita was there, and she's telling Renee, I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. So when he came to the car and told my mom, well, she's saying that blah, blah, blah. That's how we found out.
Oh, that's awful. Who is that?
And well,
And the cleaning, like the.
she used to
Yeah,
iron
her
she used to
clothes.
iron for
They clean her
Oh.
house.
And then when we got to Tia Aurora's, what did we get to?
Is awake.
His wake.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Well, because everything was so fast.
I
People
know, but that's just so
outside
crazy
everywhere.
to me not to let the
People
whole.
out
It was a
there
different
everywhere.
time.
Yes.
It was a different time.
And
In
in
her
Mexico,
house.
there's no.
And did Tia Aurora
it's not
still
every
live
week.
on the
No, but
U.S.
the point
side
is
or?
No, the Mexico
no,
side.
She lived in Mexico.
Because it was in her side,
In
in
his
her house,
parents'
right?
house.
Yeah.
And then something that I had never experienced, and Jeannie probably had never experienced, is
The glass.
the wake was at Tia Aurora's house.
In the
My
house.
dad's-
In the
my
house.
dad's
He's
The,
there.
In the
the
living
coffin
room.
was in the
Yes.
living room, and the rosary was
Ugh.
going, and I remember we were in shorts. I mean, we were traveling.
Yeah.
Somebody
Awful.
took my mom's luggage, took it to the room. She changed it to because my mother,
Her
being
black.
a very smart woman, she packed all black clothes.
Oh my
She wore
god.
black for years.
So
No,
I know
interesting
that,
though,
yeah.
and she would always be grateful for her siblings, who made all of the arrangements. My mom didn't have to do. Well, I mean, everything was done.
Yeah.
But interesting that we have this conversation because last night I found this. It
Oh, wow.
is
Mm-hmm.
mi tía Lolita.
Oh.
I found this card that is in memoriam my dad's first anniversary mass.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes,
Was it
it's a
Pete
little
stuff?
card. Huh?
Pete stuff.
I don't think so. I had a whole bunch of old stuff, and actually,
stuff?
I have my folder. I was telling Stephanie, she
Like her
didn't believe
birth
it.
certificate.
My
I'm like,
folder that my dad had for each of us with our birth
Oh,
certificates
okay.
and stuff. I said this little card was written in October 8th, 1956 at the hospital. It was written my name. My dad used to save all of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
I have my
into that.
my with the birth certificate. Birth certificate and that stuff. Wow.
And then I
That
found
made me
this in the
cry.
card, and it's dated May 14th, 1966.
And when did he die? Sorry.
April
April
19th.
19th.
April. Oh, so
yeah.
a month later.
Right?
His birthday.
Now, I'm not gonna read it all,
Yeah.
but it is, you know how they used to write letters, but it's typed. I don't know who typed it for my mom, but it's from my mom to Miguel Noriega, the mortuary guy.
Oh, say,
The mortuary guy, the mortician. and you know, it starts with estimado amigo, eternamente agradecida por las atenciones que se sirvió dispensarnos en ocasión de fallecimiento de mi querido esposo César Cagigas. And it goes on and on. I'm not going to read it all,
Tio
but
Calici probably typed it.
Tio Calici probably typed it,
Oh.
but it's giving thanks
For the services.
for the
For
services,
everything.
for everything that was done. And I think there's a little something here about payment. But you know, my uncles and my aunts, as I understood it, paid for everything.
And the
Wow.
other thing that surprised me, we got here so quick. So somebody in LA knew that he had died.
Tio Chato.
Tio Chato and
Well,
Tia
other
Amelia.
than Tio
Oh.
Chato.
Oh.
They
Oh.
must have told like the Islas, the
Tia Cookie.
pescado people.
Oh,
were
Tia
there.
Cookie was the
Cookie
best
dough.
story.
Because Tia Cookie was there.
That's not her real name, people.
Pescado. Those was.
Oh, pescado.
Pescado. I remember pescado. It's just names that they call people. They're not their legal names. Okay, guys.
Tia Cookie was
Tia
there. Father Soriano showed
Father
up.
Soriano took
Luciano
Luciano and
showed
somebody
up.
else.
Nogales?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
to my
Father
dad's church.
Lupi.
Father
And
Soriano
Lupi.
took
Lupi Bergo?
Lupi
Yeah.
Barragan
Father
went to
Soriano
Nogales.
took-
Yes.
Father Soriano took two boys. Father Soriano was part of the mass. He took
Oh.
two guys with him. He
That
took
was your
Luciano-
priest here. I mean,
Yeah.
your priest.
Yes. and another
Yeah.
representative from
Yes.
Cathedral High School.
Oh, dude.
I remember there were two. I don't know who the other one was. Luciano was Villagran was my dad was his confirmation godfather.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, says his age, right? Says it.
Highness, I think.
Hi,
Anyway,
Yeah,
so they
yeah.
went to the services.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let me ask, so you guys walk into Tia Aurora's house
Uh-huh.
and the streets are packed,
Uh-huh.
right?
Were you
And-
scared?
Oh yeah.
We didn't know what was
No, I
going
know,
on.
but were you like,
Even if it was said your father died, I would have been like,
Huh?
I would have
so
been
when you saw her, when you realized,
confused.
It was fear. It was seeing all of the aunts and uncles crying. My mother just was like distraught, and you're a kid.
Oh, that was.
And there's the coffin, and then my mother turns around and says, "Llévense a los niños."
Yeah.
Right?
We went to the Felix house.
so you didn't see my dad?
No, we did.
Pete, yeah, we did, and it was one of those coffins that I'd never seen.
No.
They had
With
the
the
glass.
glass.
It has glass over it.
That we had,
Yeah.
but Pete was the one that was allowed to stay
Yes.
overnight to pray the rosary.
The rest of us had to go to Tia Ofe's house.
Yeah.
And hang out with the
sad.
Luis.
I
Yeah.
know that.
Until the
Wow.
next day that from there,
The mass and the burial, right?
The-
The next day?
the coffin took him,
Yeah.
and all the men followed walking
Yeah.
to the church. And then they all
And we were
walked
kids, man. We
downstairs.
wanted to play with dolls with our
Yeah.
cousins. It was
Right.
like, what the?
Yeah.
But then
What?
it
We're
would
here.
sink
Let's
in.
have fun.
Yeah.
What a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really kind of.
And then at the cemetery when Cookie showed up,
Oh, that was.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a classic story.
that's a concept.
That's a classic story. Mi tia Cookie, you all know her. She's very
My God.
over the top. She's red
Elaborate.
hair. She's elaborate. She told the story when we would get together about when my dad died. That and Cesar has confirmed this story. She got on a plane
Wow.
to go to Tucson. She was late for her plane, and how she told the story is they held the plane for me. And, she was dramatic.
Yeah.
They held the plane for me. I was all dressed in black. I had my big hat
She
with my
always wore big
scarf, and here we got on the plane. They called the plane, and here I got on the plane, and people were saying, "Who is that? Is that a movie star?" That's somebody important. I
That's your godmother?
She was so over
Extra.
the top,
Extra.
wonderful woman. She was so
That's
extra.
funny.
And Luisito and Nando picked mi tia Cookie up and straight to the cemetery. At the cemetery, she made a scene, and I do remember this. She
Yeah,
made a scene,
me too.
and she said, "No, I want to see my compadre."
Open that coffin.
Open the coffin.
What?
Open
And they
up the
told her
coffin.
no,
They
no,
told
we
her
can't.
no. She said, "Yes, you're gonna do it."
Oh, yeah.
And
She
opened
made
up the
a
coffin.
scene.
She needed to see my dad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And that
Wow.
was the burial.
Wow.
Wow.
Is it true that you guys used to take his slippers to the door?
You'll have
Do you
to,
remember
you'll
that?
have to,
Yeah.
Take what?
His slippers?
Like
When
about
Dad
4
would-
o'clock
when he would
when
show
my
up.
dad was gonna get home from
before
work.
he died.
What do we do?
Not
They
you.
did.
her
They did.
dad.
Oh.
They did.
Would take it.
They
his
did.
Oh,
slippers.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
They would
Yeah.
take his slippers to
Yeah.
the door?
Yes.
Yeah. And afterwards, it was like they'd still take the slippers, but it was like,
Because they
I
didn't.
don't-
Yeah.
That's so sad.
When we came back, I have another picture to share with you guys. When we came back, mi nana Tere, mi
Tia
tia
Aurora.
Ceci, mi tia Aurora,
That's your grandma and your aunts, right?
my
So
aunts,
for context.
mi tío Calichi, and mi tia Carmela also.
So all of my nana's siblings and her mom came.
Some
Almost all
of
of
Some
them.
of the
almost
siblings.
all of them
Three of
came
them
back with
plus-
us.
And my dad's sister.
The other
And my dad's sister came back with us, and I remember I had a red coat, and it was kind of cold, and I remember tia Carmela saying, "You can't wear that, it's red." I'm like, I'm a 9-year-old kid, I'm gonna wear it. But it was,
Yeah.
it was just a different
That time.
time. So, at that time,
Oh, yeah.
my grandmother
Eh.
has a cast on
Yeah,
there,
she
guys.
does.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
The twins were in high chairs, and my
Uh-huh.
grandmother helped to cook and do all kinds of stuff. She tripped on the high chair. She had a knife in her hand because she was
It was
cooking.
worth
Oh, yeah.
It's the funniest story. She tripped on a high chair. She fell.
She
hit her
tripped.
nose. Hit her nose on the floor. We've told you before. My mom was a big sissy.
Oh my gosh.
And she had all this blood coming down her nose. My mom ran out to the street. Just so happened that Tio Chato and Tia Amelia were getting there. And she's like, she stabbed herself. She hurt herself because she had a knife in her hand. Turns out that she didn't break her nose, but it was bleeding. But when you asked me, Nana Teden, ¿qué pasó? She didn't say she tripped on the high chair. She said, fueron las cuatas cabronas.
From that day, and I'm not kidding.
From that day forward.
From that day forward.
Yep.
I just was like, I don't think she likes me or whatever. And then every time we walk by her, I swear. And she died in what year? 70-something. So I was 9 years old. The last thing she called me was Cuata Cabrona. Till then,
my
every time she saw us, agitada. She was so mad that.
And it's so weird how things happen. I remember too, I don't know if Terry remembers the conversations. All my uncles and aunts wanted my mother to move back to November.
Yes.
You have to come back with your 8 kids. What are you going to do in LA? What are you going to do in LA? And I thank God every day my mother
Serious?
said no.
That's
Dije
crazy.
que no.
No.
Do you know how
I'm
much bravery
staying
that
in LA.
takes? You have to stay with all your
To
kids.
me,
and-
And look at, like I said,
Not speak the language, not like
no, exactly. But
having
she
your
didn't know how
husband
to
do
do
everything
anything.
She didn't know how to
beforehand.
couldn't pay a bill.
Yeah.
nothing.
She couldn't write a check. She couldn't do anything. Cesar.
My dad did
Sit
that.
down. Yeah, Cesar showed her how to write a check. Cesar drove with her
Go to
to
the
the
bank.
Pac Bell on daily.
On daily.
To pay the phone bill.
The gas.
Yeah.
Went to the gas station.
Yeah,
the
the
gas,
gas
pay
company.
the gas across the street.
DWP. Yeah.
Cesar
Yeah.
took her and showed her everything.
And did it
no
for months.
sense.
And
No
how to
sense.
drive. And how to drive.
And how to drive, yeah.
She
No
was-
sense. She kept saying,
Because
Cesar,
she
go,
had-
si sabes, let's go. And Cesar is the one that got my mother doing
And
all
he
that.
did it for months, and then one day she said, let's go pay the bills, and he said what? Nope,
Nope.
Do it.
Go do it.
she had to
Wow.
go do it.
And if she sent us, you better bring that damn receipt and put it on the
Oh
table.
yeah.
Or else in the market.
You're in
whatever.
My favorite things when she'd write checks is she'd say, siéntate. ¿Cómo se pone
Yes.
25?
Yes, I remember. I
Oh.
even used to have to do
You have
that
to write
too.
it on
Así está bien? I'm like, yeah, hold on, let me double check.
But
Yes.
for not knowing much about bookkeeping and paying the bill, my mom turned out to be a very frugal person that saved money.
Lisa took after her in that case.
I remember I asked her I wanted a dog. I wanted a little puppy. She goes, ¿Quieres comer? I said, okay, we're good. And never had a dog.
She sent
We
me the
did.
frescoes before it was
did.
fresco.
We
I
did.
remember
We
that.
did. We did. What happened to the dog, Jeannie?
She put him in the car and opened the door as she was driving. The dog ran out.
Wait.
Oh
We do not
my
support
God.
that. We are animal lovers.
Again, getting comer. Yeah.
She had 8
My
children
dad
by
would
herself.
bring
Well,
a dog
not by
home
herself, but
because he wanted a pet, I guess, for his kids.
because he was family
You're
oriented and
the
knew that was a family
oriented,
life.
You had a pet. He would go to work.
I will
And
tell
she'd
you.
get in the car with the dog, drive somewhere, open the door, the dog would run out.
You know what's funny is like I
The dog
always.
would run out.
It's always fascinating, like what Terry says that she learned how to, she always made it happen. I don't remember, I can't say I was poor growing up. I swear to you, but we didn't complain. She taught us be happy with, look at the guy, right? I've never seen a woman cut up a Snicker bar in like 8 pieces.
Or a piece of gum.
8 pieces.
You couldn't even blow
The
it.
gum? Half a gum, half a
I
gum.
never had my own stick of gum till I started working. It was like,
You're like, you get a
and
whole
I
I
would
have
do
no idea
half.
about the candy.
I
know.
would do like
What's she say?
your Nino has no idea about the candy.
Oh
He
yeah.
wasn't in the house anymore.
No.
We had told the story about.
Oh yeah, because I was like, what are you talking about? It's
Sorry,
like,
yeah.
my mom. So it was like Seth was gone, and then it would be like between 7, because it was us and my mom, because Jaime was gone and Seth were gone. So we were happy. We
Yeah.
got our, we always and I think to being a twin, we always split everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Disneyland,
We
if I
fight
licked
the
one
end.
side, she licked the other side. It's crazy. But
That's
it was
funny.
cool. But
Lick it and pass it. Lick it
she
and pass
always
it.
made it like she always made okay, and watching her cook.
Yeah.
Like
Dude.
I made stuff, random stuff, lo que hay, right? Thanks, Mom. I mean,
Yeah.
she made.
I know. I think
she
back
would-
to my childhood and like if I had I hated for some reason like chicken soup with rice. I freaking hate something about that. I hate it.
How about
And
now?
now I'm like, I would die for a chicken soup with rice
Oh,
that
mushy
grandma
rice.
made. Yeah.
Mushy rice, yeah.
What was
How's that mushy rice?
Saturdays? You guys remember what Saturdays we
Yeah, we
would do?
took a bath.
Yeah, besides that, what was that?
And we shared and we shared the bathwater.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
Wait, imagine me the last ones, okay?
So she would take us to Thrifties,
Yep.
and we would pick some candy bars
Uh-huh.
because we always split them, and then it was bath time, and then it was time to watch Shirley Temple. Remember that one? Shirley
And-
Temple.
and
Shirley Temple and Mom
Temple.
Pop Kettle.
And I'll tell you,
And I don't know about Mom
on a rainy,
Pocket. That was
rainy
it.
day, on a
On a
rainy day.
rainy day.
And Lawrence Welk.
what is that? Mom what? What is
Lawrence
Mom
Welk.
Frankie?
Mom Pocket.
It's
You have to
a-
look it
Oh,
up.
Mom Pocket. Mom Pocket.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then Lawrence Welk, we would sit in a line and watch until the end. We'd go.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, it's over.
But you know, my mom and dad and Tio Jorge and Tia Georgina went to
Yeah.
Lawrence Welk.
Yep.
And they were on TV. They did dance.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh.
But
Mom
Marty's
says-
right. You know, it's not that my mom was frugal. She was frugal, but we had the necessities. We didn't
Yeah.
ever want for anything, or maybe we did, but it was like, no.
It was like kids, right? No, you're not
No,
gonna get it.
we just wouldn't ask for it. I wouldn't ask
We would
for
look
it.
through the blue
Yeah.
chip book, right?
Ah, the green
blue
snips
chip.
and the blue chip. Blue chip.
Well,
Yeah,
we
blue
didn't
chip.
have. You know what? I remember our shoes. Marshall,
Oh, we
she had to
didn't
buy two. So we'd wear shoes till our toes were like that, man.
I
And
will-
it was like
Did she really cut off a piece of your toe, clipping your toenails?
all the time. After she jacked up my bangs. Yeah, she
Oh,
did.
God.
Okay.
I will say,
She would get mad, she would.
I will
Rub
say
it,
that
yeah.
some of them were a little more needier, or a little more needed the wants, because I don't think Jeannie ever did, cut out a diamond ring and put tape around it and tape it on your fingers.
Or put
That was
yarn so
Marty.
my hair was like
That was
Cher.
Marty. Marty with long hair. She got my
pissed
mom's
at me.
yarn.
Yes.
Put a bobby pin in the middle and she,
That's
I got
hilarious.
Oh my
it.
gosh,
Or
yeah, I
use
bet.
bugles as nails.
Bugle, Freddie Krueger.
That's so funny.
Yes.
But I was fine with them.
yeah.
Hey, I still am. It's all good. We had what we needed, but I never felt people say, "Oh, were you poor?" I said no, and I look back and it's like now what kids have.
Yeah.
No.
But I don't
Whatever.
ever remember asking because I
We
knew
do.
Yeah, the answer was gonna be no.
the answer was gonna be no.
Yeah, but you
Yes.
didn't
So
feel, did you feel
I-
like you missed out? Like, oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I wanted Jordan. I wanted Jordan. I can tell you, my entire freshman year in high school, we had a pair of ugly green pants, a
Polyester.
light green shirt, and an ugly vest. So one day I'd show up, no vest, and then
Okay.
I thought I was like, oh, they're not gonna notice. I'd wear the vest next time.
Okay.
Stupid. Like, hello.
I mean,
but guess what? We
you
didn't
did
have
with
the
what you
Jordan
had.
jeans.
By the way, we dressed alike till we were 14. I
Yes.
Okay, let me ask
we
you a
went to
question.
Sacred Heart.
Did the pantry give you the trauma that it gave us?
Oh,
What pantry?
Nana's
The
giant
big
food
white
pantry.
pantry.
My mom would say,
Right by my mom's room, the red side.
Oh, let me tell you. Let me tell you. One day.
Me too.
So let me set that real quick before you start. My grandma had a big pantry.
Oh,
For lack of a better word, it was like a
It wasn't a
gigantic.
pantry, it was like on a wall.
It was a wall.
Built-in pantry.
You would open the-
Built-in pantry.
Open it, yes, about
Okay.
5 feet, and it was full of like canned goods,
Stacked.
baking
Stacked.
stuff.
One day.
And then there were drawers.
Yeah.
Yes,
All
it was
the
at the bottom of
toilet
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Again,
All the
we
time.
didn't
Like,
have Game
shimmy it.
Boys. We didn't have games. We used our head to play and have fun. Well, one day I decided I wanted to be a cash register lady because that was my goal in life. I was like 7 or 8. So one day I said, oh, I got a shoebox and I drew circles like a cash register and I did this. And I scanned the can, and then one day I said, this one's torn. I took off the labels on about 20 cans.
Oh, no.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but I took them off, and
Oh my
and so then after I said, my mother says, "¿Qué te pasa?" And I was like, "What?"
Oh, because we were doing like the soup can.
Yes.
And people at school, you know, you
And
collect
then,
them.
and then I tied a rubber band so I could walk on them. Okay, on the cans. Well, I didn't want to play no more, so there were the cans.
With no labels.
Yes.
My mother wanted, do you
my
know
God.
I ate a mystery can for like weeks? Te lo vas a comer. I didn't like tomato soup. I didn't like
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I was scared.
But she said that she was scanning it, but there was no scanning. She was punching numbers in,
Yeah, right.
to her fake cash register.
Yeah, I got in trouble.
Big trouble.
Stop pounding, please. That hurts my ears.
So she was not wasteful. So I did eat everything in those
Wow.
cans. It was horrible.
My favorite part about the pantry is when my mom was cooking
Yeah.
and she'd say, "Tráigame la espalda."
Ugh.
And Marsha would do that. And she'd say, "What does she want?" And I'd say, "I don't know."
Oh my God! But you knew?
Yes, she
Oh,
did.
yeah.
And,
I know
and
what she wanted.
She
She
did
knew it
the
was
same thing
baking
with
powder.
onion and garlic, because I could never remember which one was which in Spanish.
La mantequilla,
No,
cállate.
mantequilla I could figure out, but ajo.
No,
In the
but
crock pot
the
container.
yeah, all the mantequilla jars had different things. How'd you know which one was the butter?
Well, listen, if I had to go through the pepino and the calabacita, you were gonna have to go through the espalda.
Do you know
Scary.
what was Fresco's before it was Fresco's?
Supermarket.
Capital Market.
Capital.
Capital Market.
She
It said
sent me
supermarket.
once with 50 cents and said, "Bring me 2 camotes."
She drove you
And
so
I-
you could get out and go.
No, I was driving at the time, and I was
Oh.
like, "You're crazy! You gave me no, it was $1. She gave me $1 and said, "Bring me like a pound of yams or something." And I was like, "You're out of your mind!" And there will be change. And I was like, "This is nuts!" And I
And
went
bring the receipt.
and I got the pound of yams and I gave them $1. She would do her research on
Yes.
the
Oh yeah.
on the circulars.
Oh, yeah,
I thought
she'd
this is
circle.
what it is.
Circulars.
Or she would
Those
tell
are
us,
ads for those of you who don't know what a circular is.
Yes.
vamos a ir a Capital por esto. Después, porque están acá en
Big Saver.
en Big Saver, vamos a
I
comprar
remember
una carnita.
circling
We
it
go to
and,
6
like,
or
different
buy
markets.
And writing it down.
I remember going with her
And
to
that's
buy
what-
it. That's one that's closed now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when Cess used to say, "So you saved 50 cents, but you spent $3 more on gas, Mom."
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I get
Well,
it.
I was thinking about this. I meant to ask someone who would remember. You guys would all remember. I remember going in with her to a store. It's not there anymore, but it was on Soto. It was like a little tiny mom and pop store. If you were coming, let's say you came off the freeway.
The 5.
You came off of the 10 freeway, make a right on Soto. You pass the projects. You pass Hazard Park. Now there's new like buildings
the
there,
right
but there
hand
was like a little tiny mom and pop store on the right hand
Where do you
side.
guys
But
see
it was
cat?
in
No, the other side. Like if you're coming.
by the projects.
Wait, what
By Santa
project?
Teresita?
I don't know.
Because
this-
there was a meat market there.
Yes, that's
She
what I'm
would-
talking
yes.
about.
Yes,
It's
it
still
was
there.
by Santa Teresita, and she would go there.
I remember
to
going
get
there and
meat.
getting a sun-kissed candy. They would have like a loose
Oh,
candies on the way
I know
out.
what you're talking about. Yes.
And that's where the Talaveras used to go and
Yeah,
what do they call it?
I don't know.
I don't know, but it was a
Rancho?
market. No, it was a market.
little
Remember
tiny
the
little
name of the
market.
I know which one. It's,
I know which one, but I don't know.
Yes,
the name.
Yeah.
What about it?
No, I just remember fondly going in with her
Oh,
often
yeah.
and getting them a
And
little
then you
candy on
and
the way
she'd
out.
say, oh yes, mira, vamos a ir por unos huesitos. She wanted the butcher to give her nomás, mira, una sonrisita y verás. Okay, work it, Mom.
And then when they started charging her,
Oh, she was pissed.
For the bones?
Yeah.
she was
Not coming back here.
Thieves. Good memories.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
for sure.
memories.
Good times.
Well,
So much to talk about.
so much. This
We
could
have
go
a
on
lot of
forever.
stories, and if you bring Jaime and Cesar in, we'll be here like for
Ooh, and
hours.
if you bring a little
I don't
tequila.
know about
And
Cesar. I don't remember
mariachi.
much. Nor does Jaime, right?
Neither does Rainina. Neither one of
Yeah,
them.
this is when I met Renee.
Yes.
Renee was like our historian, and I
Damn.
begged him for years.
Yes.
Right, of Kim and Danny Siqueiros.
Yes.
Right, the history, because they remembered everything.
You
They
know who
remembered
knows that?
People from
Amalia. She's
Nogales,
got.
they remembered stories from, and me personally, I was too young. I don't remember.
You know who's really
Loco
good?
Chuy
Yeah,
and,
look what you
Amalita has mi tía Malita's writings on her, but like her sayings and
Yeah.
stuff like that too.
You know who's really good with that too is we might have to get to him is Luisito.
and Yolanda Georgelis.
Yolanda Georgianos too. But they remember. They were like the older cousins, so
Right.
they remember a
They
lot.
were the older cousins.
They were. Yeah.
They are.
They are.
They are.
They are the older
They are.
cousins.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway,
All right, one last question. Oh, go ahead.
one last question.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I just
You were
said
gonna
it's
say
all good.
What would Nana say about everything that's happening in the world right now?
Ave Maria Purísima.
Well,
To start.
I think my mother was so proud to become an American citizen.
No.
again.
Yeah, we posted that
To
again.
get her
Yes.
citizenship back.
She was so proud.
Take it back.
Also, she was really proud that her dad was a politician,
Yes.
Yes.
a leftist politician who was very involved in.
respected.
Yes.
Let me say real quick, Marcia, before you. Jeannie had said earlier, we learned from Renee the politics stuff because my mom was really not in her younger age
Right.
when we were growing up.
Well,
Sure.
in her older
Because,
age, yeah.
because, well, in her older age, she did, because when she'd say, no puedo hablar, estoy viendo al punto con, what's his name, Jorge
And she'd read the
Ramos, or
paper.
whatever his name is. She would read the paper. She was really into current events.
Yes. And she read in English.
Mhm.
I had LA Times coming every day so she could read it. And my mom was, back in the days when Newt Gingrich was held office, she'd say, ese viejo cínico. And she couldn't stand to look at him.
Yeah.
And I think my mother would really be disgusted at how this administration.
And she would know people. A memory just came to me. We were in Chicago flying to DC, and who is the Surgeon General, Cooper?
Back then.
Yeah, way back in the day. Is it Cooper somebody?
I don't know.
The Surgeon General, my mom says, ese. He was on our plane.
Yes.
He's a Surgeon General.
She
I
was
want to
smart.
call him C.G. Cooper or.
Let's see. I'm trying to find it right now.
She was smart. She knew.
C. Everett Koop.
Everett Koop? C. Everett Koop?
Yeah.
1982 to 1989
Yeah.
under Ronald
Yeah.
Reagan. She
Yes,
probably knew.
and
Yeah.
my mother was like,
That's so funny.
yes, my mother said, mira, ese, and Coop, she would call him Cooper or something.
Yeah.
And I said, how do you know
Porque
that?"
era el de los Coopers.
No, but my thing is like,
How do you? Yeah.
I
that-
mean, walking
She was
around
smart.
here, I won't know who you are.
Yeah, I wouldn't
She's a-
either.
You're talking about Doc Roberts, Roger Roberts.
So
Oh,
Nana.
yeah, what I did.
She was Testa, straight Testa, so
Yeah,
she was studying
she
for the
knew
test.
people.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she said, okay,
Yeah.
quiero que me digas ta 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 ta, and I'd be like, just looking at her, she was, tú vete de aquí, burra, yo sí lo sé toditito, ponte a estudiar, and she would just
I think
soak it in.
when my mom was considered a senior citizen and she'd go to, the politicians would come and try to get their votes.
Oh, yeah.
And I was fortunate enough when I graduated from Cal State LA, when Martha and I graduated, that Jaime sent for me as part of my present to go with my mom
Oh,
back
yeah.
east.
Mhm.
We saw, we were able to go to a mass with the Pope John Paul. Martha was not
Rude.
ready.
'Cause you didn't actually
But
graduate.
Because you didn't
show
really
up.
have a job.
But I showed up.
But you
she
crashed
stayed
it?
for me,
Yeah. Again.
I partied every
We also got to go to the Rose Garden. Bill
Can
Clinton
you
was-
tell us that story? Because rest in peace, R.I.P. We're gonna. Can you tell us what happened? Because
Well, I almost got into a fight.
with who?
Oh, I know.
Well, I almost got. and I-
Not a
Listen, I
fight.
tell people all the time, I don't like to fight, but I feel like I.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
When it's wrong, it's wrong.
It's on
The
the.
cords are.
I went to, we went to the Rose Garden. Bill Clinton was there and the president of Mexico at that
Oh,
time.
that's
was
Bill's Rose Garden.
Vicente
Oh, hold on,
Fox.
guys. Something's happening. Oh,
Nassis's Rose Garden.
Yes.
oh. We're having a. Let's pause real quick. Why don't we just pause it real quick? Okay, go ahead. Okay, so you went to the Rose Garden.
So my mom and Jaime took us when Jaime was still an agent, and we went to the Rose Garden. Vicente Fox and Bill Clinton were there, and we were listening. And again, being my mom, she was a senior citizen, and politicians were really trying to get the senior votes.
Mhm.
After it was all said and done, they went away, and up walked Javier Becerra. Like, Señora, ¿cómo estás? He was lovely. He was like so kind. He was gracious. And how are you here? What did it? Okay. And then we're like, oh, very kind man.
And if you've seen our Nana, she's like the traditional Mexican-looking older woman with the,
The glasses and the
poofy hair.
the
Iconic
hair.
Yes.
And then up walks, rest in peace, Gloria Molina,
Mhm.
who, councilwoman, and she walked up and she said, "What are you doing here?"
Who
And I
let you
said-
in?
And I sat there and I said, "No." My mom said, "Well, my son is a Secret Service agent, and we are here because he brought us here to do the same thing you're doing here, right? To witness this." And she said, "Well, where did he grow up?"
Stop.
And I was like, "Well, my mom said, well, he grew up in Lincoln Heights. He went to Cathedral. Really? I can't believe that."
Oof.
And I was,
Sorry, let's keep
and
him in the
Jaime
hood.
actually was standing next to me, and I turned around and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, so I saw the devil in my eyes because
Yeah.
it was so offensive to
How dare
me
you.
that anybody would say, how can you be here if you come from Lincoln Heights, right?
Right.
And I don't know.
And
And I don't know you?
I
What?
don't know you, and how, I said, Jaime, hold me back. Rest in peace.
That was just so
Gabrielita.
rude.
Very- It was,
Sad.
and so disrespectful
Yeah.
because as a politician in the community, you're supposed to be uplifting. It should have been like Javier Becerra. Hey, you know, yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was an interesting moment for me, and honestly, a moment where I lost a lot of respect.
And that's really interesting. I mean, she was a trailblazer for Latina
Trailblazer,
women.
powerful, legacy.
And so it's a bummer.
Yeah,
It's a bummer.
that was one of my least favorite moments, honestly. With the compared
It's like
to
what they
today.
say, don't be your
Yeah.
heroes. Don't be the
Well,
people
yeah,
that's the bummer.
when you
Yeah.
compare
But when
it
you
to
compare it to
today,
today, it's like, so it was really disappointing for
Yes,
me
yes.
Yeah.
because she insisted,
their
and she
position.
didn't. She insisted like, in
How
Lincoln.
can you? Like,
Yeah.
It's like, how can you? Oh, he didn't grow up in the area, right? That's
that's
one of
one
her
thing
comments, and I was like,
No, and that's one thing I'm very.
Sorry, she's dead.
I'm thankful to my mom and
What
I'm
did you
very
say?
thankful
Yeah,
to my
right.
mom and very
What
proud
did you say?
that my mom,
Wait,
when
why
she
did you say
raised us, you know, yeah, I was probably the crazier one, but we all were raised professional. We're all professionals.
Yeah.
For sure.
We all had our careers, you know. Yeah, a little goofy, heck yeah. But I'm saying that my mother had. I mean, the
Charlie.
fear in the face when she looked at you crooked, or like, you better just stay. Like, listen. I'm the only one in the cities that got a tattoo, but I got that years after she passed away. Okay, it was it was in her honor, but she would have called me a chola. She would have been like, ay,
You know, she wouldn't have talked to you.
yeah, that's right. You're right. No, so, but I take a lot of pride that, you know, to think that she raised 8 kids and don't play with her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
for
play.
sure.
Like, you know, a little goofy
No, we didn't.
sometimes. No, we're goofy in our own right, but we, you know, we took care of what we had to take care of.
she had us on a short leash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
living when there was a lot of gang activity, and it was like, you can say hi, but you just keep walking straight.
No.
But
Yeah.
I have
Son of that.
Keeping yourself
Son
in
of-
jail and
I have
out
a
of
friend
the
that
gang.
says-
What they insane? What they insane? No,
Yes, I have a friend that I won't say her name, but she says, I remember going up, knocking on your door, and I could see you marshal to the windows, but your mom opened the door and said, hey, can they come play? And she said, no. And she was like, oh, but they were the neighbors, Dookie or something, you know, relatives.
Oh, if you weren't gonna say it.
Oh, my friend, he's gone. My friend's,
Virginia.
whatever. Anyway, so I was like, Mom, why can't we play? She goes, no, váyanse de afuera. So we only play in the backyard. But so she wouldn't let us.
Dookie thought her name was Virginia.
Yeah.
So he was one day, Virginia. And Jimmy's like, hey, Virginia.
He was a gang member. I knew what So he asked me my name.
Did you
one day.
tell him that?
You told him it was Virginia?
Oh, shit.
It's not like he didn't know where you live.
I know. That's the kind of fear my mother put in us.
Is he passed away now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace.
So he's somewhere else saying, I had this rude ass neighbor named Virginia. Never talked to me.
Yes. Oh my
But he
God.
lived
Never
across the street. It's okay. He didn't know where she
He lived across the street, dude. Like Romy? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Up a little bit.
He lived across the street. He knew where she lived.
Romy protected our community.
Hell yeah, he did.
Romy,
Romy, you my friend?
Romy, your
Romy, yes.
You'll love
Do
this.
you remember when
Colored
he came
his
as
hair?
Santa Claus?
Yeah.
He came as Santa Claus.
Those nuts.
And
to the house.
Adrian and to our house, and all the Adrian and Michael, probably Lisa, but they were all very young. And he came and he sat down and he's like, "Can I have a beer?" Pulls down. Kids, remember? Pulls down his beard, opens up his beard.
Romy.
We're like, oh,
Killing the
Romy.
magic. Romy.
Oh, no.
You'll love this before you let you go. I met someone maybe last year who is.
You've met a lot of people.
I have. I was in a meeting and there was this older white man in that meeting and he said, "Oh, where did you grow up?" And I said, "Oh, nearby. Like my aunt still lives in my grandma's house nearby." He's like, "Oh, I live in Lincoln Heights too. I recently moved." And in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, it's gentrifier." And you'll love this. And I said, "Oh yeah, she still lives on Sierra Street by Glen Alta." And he's like, "Oh, I live there too." And I'm like, "That's great. Where?" On Rolay. Sorry. On Raleigh. I said on Raleigh?
Are you serious?
Are you French
Okay.
too?
You know you called it
Lincoln
Raleigh.
is called like the
Oh wow.
the warehouse, Lincoln warehouse area.
Oh, stop.
Lincoln Heights West. It's
Marshall, part of
Stupid.
Montecito Heights, by the way.
Oh,
Are
it's
you?
upgrading me.
Yes.
I don't take it.
But yet they put a. Didn't they put a something
Happy
on your?
Valley still.
Yeah. No, nothing.
They put a what?
Didn't the city put something
Your
on the
parking
yard?
sign on your
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
They
they
put a
put
what?
a big
They
pole.
put a
That's a pole. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, a
So
pole.
they don't hit
Yeah.
the meter. I said, nobody's hit it in 75 years.
So let me just say that my kids all big bad. I used to consider Happy Valley, but you know when my mom would say, "No volteen, don't look,"
No.
she'd be like, "Okay."
You know that Nana's isms will live on forever because me and my comadre Pat, who I love, we share an office, and sometimes somebody will walk by who we don't want to talk to. She'll say, "No voltean, no voltean." We'll turn around. Say, "Don't you turn around."
You know, about 6 years ago, Jaime came to the house, after Ann passed away. He would come over for like 3 or 4 months, and he would just hang out at the house. And one time we were walking up the street, and there was a young man painting a mural. And I was like, Jaime, we should come back and bring him some water or something, because it's hot, right? It was during the summer. He goes, yeah, we should. So we go back down there, and we take him some water and some watermelon or something. And he says, do you live in the area? I said, yeah, I live up the street. He goes, did you have like a lot of siblings? I said, yeah. He goes, I remember you guys. You guys all were always in your like your uniform, walking up the street. He says, but you guys never talked to anybody. I said, no, we said hello. And he was like a former gangster. No, it was a former gangster, and he was coming back and painting murals in the community. I was like, oh, and Jaime and I were kind of chuckling about it. Jaime goes, yeah, my tata used to tell me. He goes, you just go and come back. Don't you talk to people in here because
Well, you're gonna
there's some
find out.
bad people.
Well, let me just change
Were you guys
something
the
from your
Mirandas of
story,
Lincoln Heights?
because-
What happened?
Were you guys the Mirandas of Lincoln Heights? All the kids.
No, no. Let me just say this.
You were already saying it. My mouth was already hitting you. Like stop.
Let me just say this. She said that he said, you guys used to walk in your uniforms. I will say, I call bullshit. That was us that they saw walking. Because when they started going to school,
They got a ride?
my mom all of a sudden used
Drove
to drive
us.
us
Yeah.
to school.
Oh.
Nana drove us
We
to school
walked.
too.
Yes.
So-
We got driving tickets.
I drove Alma to school, through high school.
Yeah, and
No, I
those
took a
times-
bus.
Those times when we walked to school, it was after a rainy day and I slipped in the mud. I had mud all over me. I had to go back, and that's just Alberta. Yeah,
Fun times.
Fun times. Oh my gosh. We got to do a part 2, guys, because we are at an hour and 30, which is the longest we've ever done. Does that feel like an hour and 30? No, right?
No.
We haven't even talked about Marty's excessive gagging, me getting locked in the car, the stripper who spilled all the oil.
We couldn't remember the name earlier.
We couldn't remember his name. I was like, we gotta talk about the stupid stripper who got lost 7 times on the way to Marty's.
I did not
Remember, he's
check
all, I'm
him.
stuck on the train tracks.
And
And
then-
then he oiled himself up in your room and spilled oil all over the place.
Yes, I was like, I had to turn that comforter over because
Oh my
she was so scared. I was
God.
so
Yeah,
nervous.
she didn't want the memory, so that stripper had me flipping.
I said, don't touch me. I said, don't touch me.
No, my
Not
kids,
in our house.
my
No,
kids
that's
lay down here. We didn't even talk about the cranberry hot dog that Brianna threw
The
up.
craisins. The craisins.
So many. We need a part 2. There's so many things.
There's so many things.
That's gross.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll have to do a
part
part
two.
2.
Thank you guys for coming, and thanks to everyone for listening. If you made it this far, let's do an Easter egg, and whoever listens to the end and tells us first gets a prize.
Oh, all right.
Whoever what?
Not us.
Somebody
Well,
give us
and
a
again,
fun fact. Somebody
okay.
give us a fun fact about the family.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, you have to message our Instagram or text
What the fun fact
Stephanie
is.
or I. 'cause
What's
I
a
know that-
fun memory? What?
You have to text us this memory.
Okay, wait, let me think here, because there's too
Not
many.
you.
Yeah, anybody. You know, you guys.
Anybody.
I want
Oh,
somebody
God.
to give a fun fact, and whoever gets to the
Of
end
our
of this
listeners.
first and tells us the fun fact at the end will get a prize. Because an hour and 30 is, y'all are loyal if you listen to
Right.
the end.
I know.
Damn.
I know who's
I'll
gonna
sit
win.
down.
What's a fun fact?
I know who's going to win,
So
too.
you want us to give
Oh,
a fun
yeah.
fact?
Yes, so right
I
now.
think a fun fact would be, this is rare now, or maybe it wasn't back in the day, but when we moved to that house, the same neighbors. We had the same neighbors on either side of the house.
So they
It
can
was the
name them
Barragans,
Madeira.
yeah, the Barragans
Madeiras.
on the right, the Madeiras on the left.
Message us with those 2 family names, and the
You'll win a
person who
prize.
messages us that first wins a prize.
And who called Jeannie Virginia?
You're gonna have to backtrack for that one.
That's who made you really listen.
Okay.
Really listen.
Big
Yeah.
prize.
So either message us the 2 names, 2 family names, and who
Thought Mancini was named Virginia.
Yeah, and we will send you a prize.
So thank you for listening. We hope that you'll come back next week. Subscribe, like, follow, so you don't miss any episodes. What else?
Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of La Vida Entre Primas, Life Between Cousins.
I'm always late.
Bye.
Bye.